Long bits before the start of the game.
Yeah, we'll say 240, but if they... Cause
All right, so have you got a second person coming?
half time. Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready when you are, basically. The Packers are rolling in season 2025 with 4 wins already on the board and eyeing off a return to the APFL final series. However, returning grand finalists, the Vale Owls, are struggling at 2-4 with a win much needed today to re-spark their season. Welcome to Balaklava Oval for the APFL Round 7 Match of the Round, proudly presented by Filming Footy. My name is Lewis McKenna. We've got Dino on the camera. We'll have some special comments throughout as well. We're going to have someone come here at half-time. I'm told Balaklava Reserves captain Les Pearson will be on the call with me, as well as both the teams break away. Of course, Round 7 brought to you by Filming Footy, Dartfish as well, and all of our key sponsors. Sportal, of course, the scoreboard sponsor for today as well. Classic Catches. Archie's, the Archie Thongs player of the game will be presented at the end. Hang around for that. Custom by ORTC, High Five e-bikes and Kimberley Accommodation Group. And Balaklava Oval looks absolutely magnificent. Balaklava, of course, coming off the break, had the league break with the league representatives playing in the Nutrien Ag Cup last week at Malala. Unfortunately, Adelaide Plains not able to get the chocolates, finishing in 4th place, but had plenty of representatives, and we'll go through some of those throughout. Balaklava coming off a 25-point win a fortnight ago over Hamley Bridge, but they were up by 60 points inside the first quarter, able to still come away with a win. And Vale defeated by Hummocks Watchman by 19 points in that game. We're underway here. Balaklava Oval, tight matchup is expected. Talk about the weather as this game goes on, as they do move it inside forward 50 now. Gets knocked down inside, and the Packers look to move it out by foot. Maynard couldn't quite pick it up. Comes out the back into the hands of the captain in Michael. Handball out the back of the pack. And the Packers now retreat, going inside forward 50, a shallow entry, but gets knocked down in front. And Balaklava now to move the ball through Ruiz. Picked it up off of his bootstraps. Little chip ball over the top, trying to find Dixon. Comes out the back, and he's got a bit of space to move the ball by hand. Gutchy, extra handball across, and the Packers now with their first entry inside forward 50. Batty diving, couldn't take the mark. Comes out the back, and the Owls now to move it through hand. Little chip kick over the top into a dangerous position, and Gutchy takes the mark. About 55 from home, so puts it into a dangerous position and juggling to take the mark. In fact, it was called off hands, tackled into the ground somewhat dangerously. No free kick paid. Still dangerous spot here. 30 metres out from goal. Trying to get the first score on the Sportal scoreboard. Neither ruckman able to get any advantage there, and quickly wrapped up by Butterfield underneath. Thank you for joining us on your Saturday arvo. Of course, watching live and free Filming Footy on YouTube. Trying to break out of the pack here, and called for holding the ball. Did have an arm free. Brilliantly wrapped up in the tackle. I believe that was Butterfield there underneath. In fact, actually, that was Jack Tiller with 3 goals already so far this season, looking for his first this afternoon. Has a pretty routine one straight in front. A good chance to talk about the weather. There is a bit of a breeze blowing across the ground. So Tiller here will have a breeze probably from his right-hand side here, but only about 25 metres in front. Does put it through, in fact, just for a behind. So maybe set it a little too far right. Through for a minor score. First behind on the Sportal scoreboard going the way of the Peckers. So 1 point advantage as the Owls now move it to the outer side. And they now go long down the line, chased out near the boundary line. Moving out close to it is Michael, trying to move his way around. One of the best in the league, Lockie Michael, gets a handball away and eventually whistle's been blown. Free kick as it got handballed over the boundary line. So the Owls now to move it and try and get it back to their forward half. Trickled over. Extra handball over the top was good. Little chipping ball going inside forward 50 is swatted away. And whistle's been blown and a free kick here going to the Peckers and a little bit of push and shove. And a 25's been paid as well. So looking for something now through the corridor. Drops it right over the top. Good mark taken there by Jacob Battle. Chipping over the top trying to find Dixon. He's a dynamic player. Snaps around his body towards goal and just falls to the near side through for yet another minor score. So 2 behinds for the Peckers on the Sportal scoreboard so far, leading Anglevale yet to score. Will Dixon is a dynamic player. Got the luxury of being able to call him a couple times in the last few weeks, and he seems to put his stamp on every single contest as the Owls now move it out, and a good mark taken by Lachlan Mitchell. Hard to confuse the 2 captains, Lachlan Mitchell and Lachlan Michael today for the respective sides. Tries to bite off a kick and looks like a good one out in front of his teammate here. So running onto it is Isaiah Glancy, his co-captain. Stepping inside forward 50 and chipping a ball across. Just intercepted and swatted away. Booted out of the defensive 50 by Bo Warner. In fact, that was Luke Guy. Now fight for it on the outer side through Gutchie. One of the league representatives. Handballs it over the top. Bailey Arthur. Kicks a long ball inside forward 50. It's a little bit of a foot race to it. 1 to it there by Tyson Harris. Loses the ball now in dispute once again. Quickly set upon and tackled. Couple Peckers getting on top of him there, but right on the paint of 50, they'll ball it up. So once again in a dangerous position. They've moved the ball quite well. There's been a fair bit of rain about here all day. So this ground would be heavy. This ball would be quite slippery to pick up as well. So in the ruck, getting knocked down in front and getting to work and handballing it out the back. And did well there. I believe that was Rathman there underneath. Handballing the ball out and a quick kick by McKay. A long ball inside forward 50. Pisano couldn't rip down the mark. Comes down in front and quickly set upon by Pisano. And quickly gets to the other end of the ground on the about 45 metres out here from the Owls goal. Looking for their first score on the Sportal scoreboard. Once again, Ruckman maybe holding on to each other. Wants to just ball this one up again. The wind caught a little bit of it. So balls it up once more. Ruckman go at it. Gets knocked down in front there by Warner. Handball out the side. Looking to go to work, the captain. Handballs it off to Rathman. Just chips a little 45-degree ball to the outside, but Lockie Michael good enough to hold on to it. Goes long down the line looking for Butterfield. Underneath there, Mitchell the captain. Handballing it off and quickly tackled and slammed into the ground. Good enough to get the handball out. Owls and Peckers going at it underneath. Rathman trying to get a kick from underneath the pack and maybe called there for a dangerous kick. Kicking in danger. And gives the ball back to the Peckers through Gutchie. Goes long down the line. Good mark taken. Hendry, winner of the Archie's Thongs a couple weeks ago at Hamley Bridge. Chips the ball inside. Bailey Arthur has the extra kick directly across the ground to Gutchie and gives it back to Arthur. Goes right into the corridor now, and Lockie Michael has some space. Just dips his hips around, drops inside, forward 50. Dangerous position once again. Maybe pushed in the back there by Battle, but no free kick paid. And 25 metres out from goal, it's going to be a ball up. So once again, the Packers able to quickly get it down inside their forward 50. In the ruck contest, Butterfield couldn't get the tap down. Drops down to their feet. Trying to get the kick out there was Tiller. And quickly out to the outer side, the captain in Mitchell picks it up and handballs the ball out. Tyrone Williams trying to chase it down. Eventually gets the handball out, and they move the ball out to their defensive 50. And it's a good kick going inside. Blumson has a lateral kick and had the option there for Jake Edwards, but decides he's going to go right down into the forward 50 instead. Leading at the footy there was Blundell, but couldn't quite get it there, and close to the boundary line. Gets tackled over. The boundary umpire's going to hurl it in. So quickly this ball was just getting slingshot action, trading forward 50 entries, but neither side able to capitalise on them. Getting knocked down in front and getting to work underneath, getting a handball out was Mason. Rathman turning, spinning, snapping around his body towards goal and through for a goal. Jay Rathman, how about that? Ripping goal from Jay Rathman. Just turned one way, went the other, and snapped it through for the first goal of the afternoon on the Sportal scoreboard. Angle Vale now moving to 1 straight 6. 2 behinds for the Balaklava Packers on the Sportal scoreboard. It was brilliant work by Rathman, just spun around on a napkin, it looked like. Gave himself no room to work with, but got it done in the end. So Angle Vale with a 4-point advantage. Back in the middle. 8 minutes gone on the Sportal scoreboard. We thank you for joining us. Of course, the weather, it's been a rainy day. Rain quite heavy here about an hour ago. It's been spitting a little bit throughout as well. Ruckman in the middle. Gets knocked down inside there by O'Leary Fletcher, and the Ruckman quickly setting upon each other. Umpire's going to ball it up once again. Gets balled up straight away. Pennell down in front. Knocks it. O'Leary Fletcher maybe got a shoelace on it. Couldn't quite pull down the tackle, and a good mark taken. So Jacob Butterfield, always a busy player for the Packers, dropping it into the Hendry direction. Gets knocked down in front. Gutchy quickly set upon. Didn't have enough time to get it out, and right on the paint of 50. We're actually about 45 metres out. This will be balled up. So umpire going to have a bit of a word as well. Looks like there's a bit of a blood rule here with Gutchy bleeding. Looks like it's coming from his shoulder or his upper arm. So he's going to head to the bench with a bit of a blood rule. As Jacob Battle quickly takes his place. So if you have just joined us, of course, these two sides coming against each other. It was a 25-point victory for Balaklava a couple weeks ago in the last round. Of course, that was round 6 action. Miller and Hendry had 5 goals apiece. Dixon with 2, Arthur and Batty with 1. And Angle Vale losing narrowly just by 3 goals to Hummocks Watchman. Been a dominant force so far this season as we're back underway. Now 60 metres out from Balaklava's goal, but the Owls are looking to do the attacking at the moment through the middle of the ground. But it's the Packers moving the ball by hand and quickly turning it over once again. A long ball inside forward 50. It's a one-on-one battle, but a great mark taken. Ripping grab pulled down there by Jack Pike. And all the way to the outer side. Batty chipping a ball over the top and Tiller taking the grab. Flicking it off to Butterfield. And turns the ball over. And they quickly look to get the work through Jaden Rudiger. Going to the paint of 50 once more, knocking it down in front. Players battling for it. Handballing it out to Arthur. And they look to quickly switch it to the outer side, but that's a dangerous kick. He's got the wheels on him. He's got the pink boots on him for a reason. Beats him to the footy, but couldn't quite pick it up effectively. Kicking it out towards the boundary and looking to get the work is Will Dixon. Handballing it over the top. It's Arthur once again. Extra handball was good. And he's got a bit of space to get to work now, Jacob Battle. Just dribbling a ball inside forward 50 now in dispute. Michael's there, Hendry's there, but it's won by the Owls and they move it through hand. Harris Flicks it over the top. Dixon's first to it. Got a bit of space and got a lot of players around, but he decides to move it by boot instead and into the lap of Butterfield. Hands it off to Arthur, and a good ball inside to Hendry, who marks it about 45 metres out. On a bit of an angle. Got a bit of wind. It's a bit of a swirling breeze here at the moment, so from the paint of 50, he pops it up. It's not going to make the distance. Goes into the pocket, and the Owls there have the numbers to be able to move it out through hand. Carter just composes himself and chips the ball over the top. Mark nearly taken there by Jonathan Wright. Gets spilled to the ground and maybe a little bit of contact off the ball, but no free kick paid. Tahana just around his body. Rathman gets a hand in there and gets the ball back. Early contender for the Archie Thongs player of the game. Chips the ball over the top, trying to find Pisano in a one-on-one. Just gets socked away there close to the boundary line. Eventually trickles over, so Pisano about 65 from goal. In fact, it's actually going to be Rathman. Now it's actually going to be Pisano. About 60, 65 from goal. Just wheels around. He's going to pop it up into a dangerous position. Goes inside forward 50, and a good defensive mark taken here for the Packers. Just lobs the ball over the top, but another intercept mark taken, and the Owls will have another opportunity through Harris. Chipping the ball over the top, and a good grab taken. Tyrone Williams has an opportunity to put through Anglevale's second, about 40 metres out. Not too much angle to speak of. And we'll see an opportunity for our first set shot opportunity from this end of the ground. He's been busy so far, Williams. Had an opportunity a moment ago running at the footy. So now rolling in on the left boot. Ball looks good, is on its way, and puts it over the goal umpire's hat. He's fired up, Williams. And understandably so, as the Anglevale Owls now move to 2 straight 12 and 2 behinds for the Packers on the Sportal scoreboard. And Williams on the board. A dynamic player up forward. He can move into the midfield a little bit as well. He's got some wheels on him. Quite literally and figuratively as well, with the pink boots, and Anglevale now move to a 10-point advantage, and understandably so with the record so far this season. Balaklava probably favourites coming into this one. So far, Anglevale will be happy the way they started this contest. It looks like there's a bit of a warning here, as they had 2 players starting up on the wing, so needed to set themselves up with the right amount of players. As we're back underway in the middle, Ruckman go at it. Gets knocked down in front. Arthur has a bit of room to go inside forward 50. Nearly ripped down there by Rudiger. He quickly gets set upon. Tackled underneath there by James Batty, and umpire will ball it up around 40 around from the Balaklava goal. Beautiful ground here at Balaklava. We've got the silos in the background as you head down Anglevale's way at the end of the ground. Just a beautiful game as Warner knocks it down in front, climbing over the top. Quickly chased down by Butterfield, and just holding it underneath there was Isaiah Glancy, the co-captain. So balling it up once again, the Ruckman to go at it. Warner, fantastic tap down, but couldn't quite get it to the advantage. Underneath is Batty, quickly ripped down by Rudiger and called for holding the ball. That's exactly why he won a pair of Archie's thongs about 5 or 6 weeks ago when they played against Virginia. He's a fantastic player, doesn't do a real lot wrong playing in the back line. In a close game like it was 5 or 6 weeks ago against Virginia, he was one of the reasons why they were able to get the narrow victory. The chips the ball to the outer side and a contest ensues. Underneath there is Michael. Just gets a little soccer from under the pack. Good one-handed pick up there underneath by Gutchie. Kicking a ball inside, and Mark nearly ripped down. In fact, a free kick has been paid here for a bit of high contact coming from James Batty, and slow to get up here is Jaden Rudiger, but it wins himself another free kick. Successive free kicks would be ideal for the Supercoach points if they were tracked at APFL level. So just decides to do the same as he did a minute ago and sends it long up the wing. Ball gets knocked down to the ground. Gets trickled out the back of the pack, and trying to go to work here is Glancy, and couldn't quite get it there. So, in fact, that was Maynard on the outer side. So close to the boundary, centre wing. It's going to be balled up. Wind took that ball a little bit, so no, Ruckman was able to get to it. Out the back, Michael handing it off to Warner. Chipping the ball right across and trying to find Battle, but it beats them all. So it's a foot race to the ball, and the Owls are able to get there first. He fends him off and says, give me a bit of space. Kicks it right into his back, and the Peckers, through O'Leary Fletcher, trying to beat him to the ball. Does well enough to pick it up now. Handballing it off and getting it back from Battle. Going inside the corridor here and running straight at it and grabbing the mark. Fantastic work by Glancy. Going inside forward 50 and just picking the ball up off the ground and turning around there was Marshall, but through for a minor score. So the first behind on the Sportal scoreboard for the Anglevale Owls. They now move to 2-1-13 on the Sportal scoreboard. 2 straight behinds for Balaklava. Not able to make the most of their forward 50 entries. And now with 17 minutes gone, it's a 11-point advantage. O'Leary Fletcher, it bounces off his chest and trickles back into Anglevale's forward 50 as a whistle's been blown here, and it's going to be a free kick to Balaklava. So Bo Warner, the beneficiary there. Over the top, and Hendry couldn't quite grab the mark. He was a little too quick for it. Fighting underneath there was Pike, and umpire's going to ball it up. So Balaklava have been quite good in being able to get inside their forward 50 on numerous occasions, at least a dozen times, but just haven't been able to reap the rewards of it. Only 2 behinds, and credit to Anglevale's backline. Mentioned the likes of Jaden Rudiger has been fantastic. Isaiah Glancy running off the half-back line as well. So who can prove to be the difference so far in this one? We're around 50 metres around from Anglevale's goal, looking to build on their advantage. Warner climbing over the top, trying to get the tap down. So ball up once again. Does get the tap down this time, does Warner. Gutchie turning himself out of the pack and just handballing it out into space. Ball spilling around, picked up by Michael and wrapped up in a tackle immediately. So ball just trickling a little closer to Anglevale's goal. And you can see here there's about 20 of the 36 players on the field, all within about 15 to 20 metres of this ball. And that is exactly why it's going to be balled up once again. It's a hard ball to pick up, a little like a cake of soap. It's a wet ground here, although it hasn't rained so far in this game. It has been raining all day and all week. It gets trickled out the back, and Hendry fighting for it. Anglevale just getting wrapped up in the tackle. As it looks as if we're going to have a co-commentator join us in a moment as well. As we turn his microphone on, and we'll get him set up for that work as well. If I'm not mistaken, Les Pearson, the reserves captain, mate. Am I right?
Yeah. So what do I do with this?
No, you're right. I'm trying to turn it on. It's not turning on, but I'll get it on in a moment. There we go. We're on. You can clip that on the front of your jumper there, mate. But unlucky to not get the win there in the Rezzies, mate. It was a tight, close game there at the end.
Yeah, good contest, tough conditions. So I guess goes the 4 quarters. You give up a bit of a lead after the first, so probably the difference in the end.
Of course, the scores in that one, it was quite a close game, with Anglevale getting the Chocolates by 13 points in the end, 7-10-52 to 6-3-39, with Anglevale, depending on other results around the league today, likely moving into the top 4. As Warner gets the tap down for the Peckers, and they go back inside forward 50, yet to really make the most of these forward 50 entries at the moment. Butterfield was reaching for it, spills out the back, and Tiller's able to get the handball out to Hendry, close to the boundary line on his opposite peg, dribbles it to the top of the goal square, and quickly retreating of the Owls over the back, and good enough to pick the ball up and handball it back out. But Tiller's good to get it off to his teammate, running into open goal and put through by Jason McFarlane. His first goal of the afternoon, and the first goal on the board for the Peckers. 1-2-8 now plays 2-1-13. And the 5th goal of the APFL season for Jason McFarlane gets on the board. And good start so far. You may have obviously been having a shower after all that. You might not have seen it so far, but the Packers able to get inside forward 50 a lot, but that was the first time they were able to, get it done.
Yeah, the breeze favouring that, it's coming from the north, favouring that southern end. So no surprise to see, I guess, some scoring advantage to that side. So goals into the wind today are going to be super valuable. There wasn't a whole lot of structure to that. That's an opportunistic sort of finish with some good forward pressure. But they're the ones you're going to take. You got to take your chances with today.
Absolutely. So 22 minutes gone in this one. Balaklava Oval, round 7 action, APFL, live on Filming Footy and YouTube. We thank you for joining us. Ball's in dispute. Mason picking it up for the Owls, trying to rip through and does, but probably just went a little too far while he's being tackled inside there. And fantastic work there by Bailey Arthur. Had a fair bit of it so far in this quarter. Just dribbles a ball up and does eventually get picked up by Gutchie when he was ripped in a tackle. Thought maybe the initial contact was a little high, but umpire doesn't agree and said he had no prior anyway, so he's going to ball it up back in the middle once again. Comes out the back and quickly handballed out through the hands of Warner, and Mason's quickly onto it. Fantastic work by the ruckman in Warner to rip down a tackle. Hacked out of the pack by Tiller, and Arthur's able to grab it on his chest and whip it inside forward 50. Trickles out the back, and the Owls, they've done well in defence. They quickly get it through Carter and retreat. Out to the outer side, and running onto it here is Pelliconi, and does trickle over the boundary line. Well, so far for your A grade this year, mate, it's been a pretty solid result. 4-2 to start the season. Of course, obviously losing a game a few weeks ago to Two Wells, that's understandable to their sort of might they have in the APFL. But it's been a solid start.
Yeah, I think they're probably looking for a bit more consistency against those better sides at the top of the table. But yeah, certainly should be pushing for top 4 position this season.
Well, with Anglevale at 2-4, of course, grand finalists who have lost a lot of players in season 2025, as the kick goes awry out of bounds and it will be brought back in by Balaklava. They are 2-4, so they're obviously wanting a little bit of a better result, and that's a dangerous kick going inside the corridor. Nearly knocked away and lucky to get a free kick there. Oh. Kicking over the top, and that's another bad turnover there, looking for battle. And it now gives an opportunity for Anglevale to try and convert, but he doesn't look like he wants to look at the goals here, the vice-captain in Blumston, and now he does retreat and gives himself a chance. But you mentioned this breeze is probably a tricky kick from here.
Well, it should help. It should push the ball, towards the goal mouth. Blumston, traditionally a defender, it's been at Anglevale a long time now. Started off the half-back flank, and he's obviously turned into a bit of a utility, strong body over the footy, association player. So,
it's on its way, just through for a minor score from Blumston. So he did pretty well with it in the end. Always a tricky breeze to judge, and they do still hold their lead by 6 points on the Sportal scoreboard, now moving to 2-2-14, 1-2-8 for the Balaklava Packers here at home as the ball trickles over the boundary line. Last touch by Balaklava, so they're able to go back inside forward 50. Little chipping ball inside and is cut off by Gutchie. He's an addition for you guys this year, William Gutchie. He's been quite impressive. I've been able to call the last couple of your games. He's an impressive player. Yeah,
come across from Loxton. He's got great family pedigree. His dad Michael was a super player for Loxton, both cricket and football. He's been in the city the last couple of... I think he's living down the city, so a bit closer to get to Balaklava than the Riverland. But I think he's gone all right in a couple of male medal counts in the Riverland, and been a great addition to that midfield group.
Well, we give out a pair of Archie's thongs at the end of the game to the player of the game, and he's certainly an early contender in this one as it brings us to quarter time of what's been a bit of a scrappy contest. A lot of both sides getting inside forward 50 quite a lot, and for much of that first quarter neither side really able to make much of it, but eventually both teams getting on the board. It's Anglevale leading the way by 1 goal, 2-2-14, and the Balaklava Packers here at home 1-2-8, and a pretty tight and tough contest. You expect this one to be tight and tough all the way. My name's Lewis McKenna. I'm joined by Les Pearson, the reserves captain for Balaklava. We'll be back with all the second quarter action in just a moment.
Is that off? You're up.
Ready to get back underway here at Balaklava Oval, and it's round 7 of the APFL action here. My name's Lewis McKenna. I'm joined by a special commentator in Les Pearson, the reserves captain for Balaklava. And it's been an interesting game to get underway. Both sides attacking inside forward 50 quite often. It's been bouncing between the 50-metre arcs, but neither team really able to make the most of it. With Angle Vale on the Sportal scoreboard, a 1-goal advantage, 2-2-14 to 1-2-8. Cold day, isn't it, Les?
Yeah, we saw late in that quarter a couple of coach killers with the defensive mindset of Balaklava to shift the ball to the clubroom side. And you wonder if that's a message from the coach to say we want to get that ball to that attacking side and move, because it seems like an unusual decision to make 2 decisions like that consecutively to get it over there and risk and take that risk. Obviously, both they were lucky to get away with it in the end.
So back underway, and Warner, the big ruckman, getting the knockdown in front, and Dixon winning his way to the ball, handballing it out the back, and McFarlane, that's Caleb McFarlane, trickling a ball over the top, and ball's in dispute now. The Owls pick it up and move it through hand. Had a little option to the outer side through Williams, but decided to go a little bit more corridor, and a good kick going inside by Arthur is marked, and I believe this is James Batty.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, grabbing it. So James Batty will have it on a pretty shallow kind of angle. Only has to kick it from about 35. What do you reckon, Les?
Yeah, well, just prior to that, you saw he had the Owls player had that outlet handball available to him. He took the kick on, didn't need to. It's cost his team a shot at goal. Batty, quality player from Port Districts, should eat this up.
On the right boot, looks fantastic. Goal umpire does not have to move too much, and it is through for a major. So James Batty on the board. Batty has been an excellent player so far this season, the games I've commentated. His 5th goal of the season as well, and the 2nd goal on the board for Balaklava, now levelling up this game at 14 apiece on the Sportal scoreboard. Yeah,
you saw last week against Hamley Bridge. He was playing a bit of midfield time as well. Sorry, this is before the bye. And so he, traditionally like a deep forward pocket in that Div 1 amateurs competition in Adelaide. I don't know if he's done a lot of midfield work, but has that capacity here in the Adelaide Plains and at Balaklava. They've put him through the midfield and he's still using his smarts up forward. But that outlet handball was there. That coach, the Angle Vale coach, won't be happy with that. That didn't get used.
Absolutely, and you've seen in the first quarter as well, if you're still with us, that Tyrone Williams, he's got wheels on him, he can go, and he had him there for the handball, but they decided not to go there as the Owls go inside forward 50. It was a good fist out the back by the Peckers, but they've still got the numbers here. Angle Vale through Mason, chipping a ball over the top. Williams is underneath this, but well done by Battle, knocking it over, and O'Leary Fletcher picks it up, handballs it out the back, and they're able to retreat, just trickles the ball off his shoelaces. They've still got it here, Balaklava, and they've done well to move it by hand, going through the middle of the ground. Dangerous ball going the direction of Tiller, falls out the back, and Jaden Rudiger's good enough to stay with it. Tackled by Batty, gets a handball out, but called for holding the ball. James Batty putting his stamp on this one here in the 2nd quarter, around 55 from goal. Chips the ball over the top, Glancy running to it. Lockie Michael running onto it as well. Gets trickled towards the boundary line and knocked over. Lockie Michael's arguing that maybe that should have been last touched.
Yeah, well, looking for a deliberate call. I don't know if they paid that too often, especially with the last touch rule in place. It seems to work well, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's it, and it stops the umpires from being chirped at too much, I guess. So hurled in, and Butterfield rips it out of the ruck, but quickly wrapped up in a tackle. And it's a beautiful view here. I was mentioned before, the silos in the background. It's my first time at Balaklava Oval, and it's a fantastic view here.
Looking for a house?
Oh, look, I'm quite good in Freeling, to be honest with you, mate. But I didn't mind it. It was a good drive here, listening to the footy on the radio. It was quite nice. There's Dixon there underneath for Balaklava. Gets knocked out the back, and ball's still in dispute. So once again, this will get hurled up, and we see that congestion around the ball now, probably around 15 to 20 players, all within about 25 metres of this one. Gets knocked down once again, and out the back. Batty's in the pack, handballs it off, snapped around the body there towards goal, floating up around the goal square, close to going through, and has gone through for a minor score, just touched through over the goal line.
You see Batty's class there in that contested sort of situation, just finding a target, an outlet handball, creating a scoring opportunity.
So Balaklava now with a 1-point advantage, their first lead of the game on the Sportal scoreboard, 15 to 14. We'll call that through for a rush behind. fact, it's not their first lead. They did have a 2-point lead early to start this one. Arthur ripping down the mark on centre wing. Been busy so far in this one. Bailey Arthur, he's been an excellent player. A good kick to a one-on-one contest, nearly in the hands of Lockie Michael. Quickly tackled underneath there and going to be balled up in a dangerous position. Bailey Arthur's story, he's been one that's impressed me so far this afternoon.
Yeah, Balaklava Junior spent some time at Eagles underage and reserves system, and you know, they're the type of players you love to get back to your club that have gone off and played at that higher level.
So ball in a dangerous position here. Michael's able to pick it up, handball it back. Batty's there underneath, trying to snap around his body, and I think that's going to float through for a minor score. It is from James Batty. So now peppering the goals and putting a bit of scoreboard pressure on. You'd think Balaklava now on the Sportal scoreboard with a 2-point advantage. But Batty is getting amongst it. Had plenty of touches early in this second quarter.
Yeah, probably winning that territory battle, but not converting on the scoreboard at this stage.
I mentioned it in the first quarter. They probably had about their first 15 inside 50s. It was a good kick onto the chest of Rudiger. Their first 15 inside 50s, Balaklava, they could only get 2 behinds from it. But since then, they've been a little better at converting, as Rathman, one of the goal scorers for Angle Vale in the first quarter, had a short option in Williams. Tried to go there now over the top, but intercepted by Jacob Battle. So Jacob Battle, one of the representatives for the league last week at Malala for the interleague. And a good mark taken down. Not paid, actually, so must have come off hands. Rathman gets it.
Hit the ground there.
Yeah, it did hit the ground. Arthur's once again amongst it. Battle gets it from Dixon, chips a ball over the top, and they've got the numbers here to get to work. Chipping a ball over from Miller, and Lockie Michael in the pocket.
This will challenge him. This will test him. It's not easy, tough angle. That wind at his back doesn't actually help you. It makes you almost need to curl the ball a lot faster than what you'd normally do if there wasn't a breeze.
And the umpire's actually put him on a worse angle, so he's not too happy about that. But he's lining up and actually looks like, yeah, he's going to try and bend this one through, and it's gone right across the face. So, yeah, I think you're right in saying it would test him.
Out towards those glorious silos.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Just like the last 2 times that Angle Vale have brought the ball in, they've come out this clubhouse wing and been intercepted around that centre wing area. They've got to try and they do well to get it outside the 50. It's that next kick. How can they create that drive off that halfback flank once they get it outside 50 to get it inside 50? That's the challenge for them. Absolutely,
as they now move the ball to the outer side, it trickles over without anyone touching it. So Balaklava will get the ball back, and as you mentioned a moment ago, Les, they're dominating possession here at the moment, the Packers.
Is that Warner?
Yeah, and they're making Warner take the kick in. It's not nice to give it to the ruckman, is it?
Not a breezy sort of afternoon.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But he pops it right up in the breeze.
Riley O'Brien-like.
That's right. Oh, and Butterfield nearly ripping it down. Does eventually pick it up on the second effort. Handballs it over the top into a little bit of space, but the Owl's good enough to move it by hand, but a whistle's been blown. It did go over the boundary line. So an opportunity to talk about some of Balaklava's partners and sponsors as well. Terminus Hotel, Royal Hotel Balaklava, as well as it looks as if there's maybe actually a free kick here being paid.
Here's a discussion about the last touch and whether it was out of a direct handball from Angle Vale.
Yeah, so they're having a chat to the boundary umpire. So Little Red Grape, Brad Michael Building, Max Cabinets, Platinum Ag Services, Joel Wilson Plumbing and Gas, Snapprint Solutions, TJ Tree Professionals, Jerry's Dublin Meats, Prime Dental Balaklava, and many, many more, as well, as it is eventually balled in. And quickly getting wrapped up in a tackle underneath there is James Batty. And they're going to ball it up once again, as this game is getting a little congested and boring, you'd admit, in the last couple of minutes. But that's fine, it'll open up at some point, we know that. Batty there, trying to rip through a tackle.
Yeah. So when you're kicking into the breeze, I mean, this is what Angle Vale will try and do, is try and shut that down, hold the ball on the inside and not let it get to the outside, and Balaklava using that wind to their advantage.
Well, they wouldn't be mad at all just trapping it inside their forward 50, and they do get the handball out the back there looking for Gutchie. Underneath there was Hendry, but it does trickle out eventually. Butterfield now pops it up towards the goal face and just fades across through for a minor score. So once again on the Sportal scoreboard, now moving to 2-5-17, 2-2-14 for the Angle Vale Owls, and it has just lived down their half of the ground so far, the Packers. The Owls haven't been able to break through.
It's really interesting to see what they do in this kick-in. So they're going out the other side now.
Has spent a bit of time out there,
up the corridor.
Has gone through the corridor, and it gets knocked down through the back. quickly getting taken in a tackle there is Butterfield, so they're going to ball it up.
So generally around the stoppages, their tackling's been pretty good. There hasn't been a lot of take a movement forward without pressure on it.
Absolutely, it's been hard for everywhere you look, and Dixon, good pick up underneath with probably a pretty wet and cold ball, trying to get the handball out there, quickly wrapped up in a tackle. I don't actually have the number.
Jack Pike.
Yeah, Jack Pike, there we go. He was listed at 32 on the app, but we'll change his name to 31. There we go. Knocked down in front there as Michael trying to rip through. Quickly got the ball knocked away. Picking it up underneath and a good kick. Just dropped the chest mark. Would have thought he'd pull that down most times, but as I mentioned before, this ball's probably a little slippery.
Not too many excuses there, I don't think.
No, that's it. I'm probably being a little nice, but
Very generous.
it's our job as commentators, isn't it? But no, you guys got the worst of the weather in the reserves. It was teeming down for much of the second half, and the A grade get it easy.
Always the way.
That's right. Hendry, handball out, and getting underneath there was Butterfield. Daniel Mason being one of the best for Anglevale, just trickles the ball out and maybe just went the required distance into the lap of Joby Maynard. Goes long down the line, but another intercept mark here taken. There's been plenty so far for the Peckers, and they look to bite off a ball in the corridor. It was a ripping kick.
Olsen, is it?
I believe this one would be Butterfield.
Yeah, Olsen.
Oh, Olsen with the kick, yeah. And marked by Gutchie, and he looks to go straight away from the paint of 50, pops it up towards goal, and through for a minor score.
Yeah, you wonder if these opportunities, missing these opportunities, is going to cost the Peckers. Footy's a game of momentum, and they've got it at the moment, but they're not capitalising it.
Well, 11 minutes gone in the second quarter. It's a 4-point advantage on the Sportal scoreboard. 2-6 to 2-2. They look to quickly go a shallow ball, quickly jumping at it there, couldn't quite take the mark. Gutchie at the fall of the ball, couldn't take the intercepting mark there, Glancy, but he does eventually get it on the second effort. Handballs it off to Rudiger and goes long down the line. Sitting underneath this one is Williams, and he's paid the mark. In fact, they're going to pay the mark to the Peckers, and fair enough, he did come down with it, Gutchie.
You wonder who got first touch there, but great effort running back with the flight.
And kicking it into the shallow part of the pocket there, Butterfield, but he just bobbles it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Looks like it's around 30 metres around from Balaklava's goal.
Yeah, so again, that third attempt at coming up this wing, and it's been, again, intercepted around that halfway point of the ground. They've got to find a different way out.
So the captain for the Owls quickly goes a 1-2 and moves it to the outer side, and they find a little bit of space here to move through the vice-captain in Blumson. Has a one-on-one up the other side. Pisano, well intercepted there and knocked away. I think that was O'Leary Fletcher, but Pisano's good enough to stay with it, dribbling it towards goal, and goes over and actually doesn't register a score at all. So that was Jack Pisano's first opportunity to try and convert on a goal.
Really like the ball movement there, though, don't you? Like where they get it out of space and they're able to carry it with their legs into that breeze and get a one-on-one inside 50. That's what they're after.
Absolutely. It was far more free-flowing than we've seen so far in this game, as Bailey Arthur has brought his own footy to Balaklava Oval here this afternoon. He's had plenty of it as it goes out on the full on the outer side. So Anglevale will get the ball back. So through the captain in Lachlan Mitchell. It's not really fair that the captain's names are Lachlan Michael and Lachlan Mitchell. It kind of puts off the commentators, but that's fine.
Yeah, Lachie Mitchell, junior of the Anglevale Footy Club, has come up through those ranks, and I think 4 or 5 years of senior footy now.
And doing well here is Maynard over the top, trying to rip down a grab for the Owls. Right under the scoreboard here, the umpire's going to grab it back and ball it up.
It's been a much better couple of minutes for Anglevale. They've got it in their half now, and they're locking it in there.
So balling it up. Inside their forward 50, Warner over the top and quickly onto the boot of Michael.
Do you reckon that was by design?
Hey, that's a hit out to advantage. That's fantastic. If anyone's tracking Bo Warner's Supercoach numbers, then that's plenty of points on the board for him. Is Batty climbing up for the mark? Gutchie was good enough to stay with it. Michael tried to dribble it off again, but quickly recovers with a tackle, ripping him to the ground there. I believe that was Glancy, and in fact that was Rudiger.
Great work rate to get from that halfback flank and that clearance down there, and ultimately held up, but excellent work rate to take the footy.
So Warner knocking it down. Dixon there underneath. Tackled without it by Rudiger, and it's going to give Will Dixon an opportunity here to convert.
Looked like one of those ones where they go to take possession and they either fumble or they don't take possession, and you're, as a tackler, and you're behind them, you don't really know and you guess.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So, yeah, really difficult.
So in a game that's been pretty...
He fumbled it.
Yeah, he did. We do have a little bit of a 30-second delayed replay here, and he did fumble it. And he's a hard player, Jaden Rudiger, and obviously just got blindsided there a little bit as Dixon pops it up towards goal and knocks it through. Big goal there for Will Dixon. His first of the afternoon, his fifth for the season, and a fantastic player for the Balaklava Peckers.
Yeah, so Will Dixon's interesting. He came back from college at Westminster and come back to the family farm, and look, he was carrying a few. And if I'm trying to be nice about it, playing a bit of reserves footy. He obviously had the talent and the skills, but didn't have the fitness levels, and he just set his mind to it. He just lost a stack of weight, and he's worked so hard in his fitness, and he's been a regular for the last couple of years now in the A grade, and it's a credit to him.
Absolutely, and they convert inside forward 50 on the Sportal scoreboard, 3-6-24. That have been all behind so far this quarter, and they get it done eventually. It was actually 4 straight behinds in a row there for Balaklava before breaking the deadlock and getting it through. So Warner once again knocking it about 30 metres, and there's been a whistle here off the ball as the umpire's having a chat here to the runner, it seems.
That's the boundary umpire.
Oh, the boundary umpire.
I think it's for breaking from a centre square infringement type thing where they've come in before the ball's been pulled up.
Yeah, there you go. Good pick up there, Les. So going inside forward 50 here is Batty. Falls through all hands, and out the back there, Miller turning one way, going around the other. Looks like it's going to be close to going through. Does go through for a goal, does it?
Yep.
He has put it through. I was waiting for all the sirens and all the claps, so there wasn't too much, but Miller does eventually put it through. It's going to be his 19th of the season, his first for the afternoon.
The crowd goes mild, doesn't it?
It was a bit mild there. I was a bit put off by that, but another goal.
I thought he missed as well.
I thought he had, but it was actually a fantastic goal, turning around his body and done a fantastic job. And now all of a sudden they're out to a 16-point advantage on the Sportal scoreboard. Miller was fantastic a couple of weeks ago with 5 goals, all coming in the first quarter against Hamley Bridge, and gets underway here this afternoon.
Probably some reward for effort there. I mean, they've dominated that territory battle this quarter. Probably 2 goals is probably fair enough.
So back underway quickly. We need the sirens to be a little louder, all the sirens on the cars to be a little louder here at Balaklava.
Warner's got the chop out and Butterfield's into the ruck now.
There we go. And Butterfield a handy back up here in the ruck. Doesn't quite win it out there, but it does fall into the lap of Dixon. Just gets a little trickling ball out, and Gutchie picks it up and quickly set upon by Mitchell. So they'll ball it up once again. Tight contest here, but Balaklava starting to gain a little bit of ascendancy. Quickly kicking it out of the pack there was Pennell, the ruckman. Gets knocked down in front off the knee of Batty and into the hands of Mason going inside forward 50 and leading at the footy. Couldn't quite pull it down there. Maybe got legs there at the end, but umpires put his whistle away, says play on. A handball it over the top. Mason trickles it back, and they're trying to break through the tackle here. And a good tackle eventually in the end laid. And
Brownlee
going to the ground. So Brownlee is another one. I actually had his number wrong as well, so we'll change that to a 6. So Jaden Brownlee there with a solid tackle here. About 55 metres around from Anglevale's goal. Handballed out the back, and Mason trying to parge through a tackle. Eventually gets the handball out. Pennell with an extra handball. Now into a dangerous position. Pisano leading at the footy. Well done by O'Leary Fletcher. Knocks it down in front, but the Anglevale Owls still have a few numbers, but O'Leary Fletcher just hacks it out.
Do you reckon that was by design?
Oh, no, Hendry, and here he goes again. O'Leary Fletcher all by himself. Gets it inside forward 50. One of the plays of the day, and they've still got the ball here, the Peckers.
Managed Scarlett about that, wasn't it?
How good was that? Yeah, absolutely I do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So another Riverland product, Matty Fletcher. So he's come across, I think Loxton North was his former club, but I think he might have spent some time at Barmera as well. Possibly even a look at Berry. He's been at a few Riverland clubs and come across that key defender, that last line of defence. Not the most skillful, but hard at it, and as you see there, just run for a line.
So right on the paint of 50 here. Bailey Arthur goes close to the goal line. And eventually does go through for a minor score, but certainly been busy in this one, Arthur. He's been an electric player so far as they now move to 4-7-31 to 2-2-14 on the Sportal scoreboard. Balaklava with a 17-point advantage. And all of that work done here in the second quarter here. 18 minutes gone. 19 minutes gone on the Sportal scoreboard.
Had plenty of practice at these kick-ins now, so let's see if they can find some momentum off of this back flank.
Again, putting the advantage there at Butterfield, and Arthur's able to get to work. Gets the handball over the top, trying to find Butterfield. Gets knocked down inside, and ball's back in dispute in the centre of the ground. Maybe a little kick in danger there, but
umpire went to pay it.
Yeah, he did, I think, but quickly moving themselves inside forward 50 here through Frank Noto. Picks the ball up and gets tackled down.
He's a clever player, Noto. He's been around Anglevale for a few years now. Forward 50 sort of specialist. Gets up the ground a bit, but yeah, classy finisher as well.
Yeah, well, 10 goals for the season suggests exactly that through 6 games. And underneath there, Rathman with the tackle. Another handy player, Jay Rathman. And Batty getting ripped to the ground. They're going to ball it up once again. And you see there in the background, 20 minutes gone. Rathman there off the tap. Has to snap around his body, goes close to goal. In dispute here, Brownlee picks it up. Gets a smart handball out in front of himself before he gets tackled, and he's good enough to stay with it.
Left footer, so he wasn't going to kick that.
Trying to get the handball off to Butterfield. Ball's back in dispute here as Rudiger's chasing. Well done by Brownlee, good enough to just keep his hips strong and pops it to a one-on-one, but a good grab taken down. Dixon trying to claim it, but it was a bit of a hard sell. It was a bit of a punch in the guts there, and maybe just did it right.
Probably earned that one.
That's it. Trying to claim the mark out of that one as a little 40-metre ball down the line. Gets picked off the front of the pack and back inside forward 50 for the Owls. Pisano leading straight at the footy. Hands it off. Rathman maybe caught a little high, but umpire says play on. Underneath and tackled to the ground.
Yeah, that initial fend actually forced the contact higher, I think. But again, I think it was Noto that put that inside 50 again. No, it's Andrew Marshall. How do we know? Marshall.
Yep.
He's missing an S in his name.
There you go. It's Pisano. Little kick out the back of the pack. Setting back with it and maybe just went the required distance.
Yeah, touch and go there. Take measure out.
It's been the narrative of the AFL so far this year. Probably not so much the APFL. As Rudiger courageously going back with the pack. Tackled by Dixon and high contact there. So a bit of push and shove after this one as well. Wasn't happy with the contact coming from Butterfield. Jaden Rudiger, a fantastic player for Anglevale. My first game I got to call of the Adelaide Plains League a couple of weeks ago against Virginia. He was good enough to win the Archie Stonks.
He's Carter urging his team to keep moving, isn't he? He's off the back flank here, demanding movement from his forwards.
Going inside forward 50 and handball out, and the Packers look to go back once again. And it's a good kick into the lap of McFarlane.
Was it a taunt? Like, was that again? Was that
yeah.
just a bit lucky? Like,
yeah.
Take the distance and get a bit fortunate.
So McFarlane waits for his troops to arrive inside forward 50, goes out the back there looking for battle. And I don't know if that was touch, so it might go back to Anglevale here, and it does.
It wasn't the best kick, was it? I mean, it was
No.
a bit of a nothing kick to a 1-on-3 in that pocket that, you know, even Battle was going to struggle to get to if it was anywhere near him.
So the Owls somewhat slowly just looking to move their way to the outer side. Once again falls into no one's kind of advantage. So a little handball over the top and tackled and brought to ground. Maybe should have been holding the ball there and nothing paid.
Went for the fend and just dropped it. It was a blatant one. But we're sitting here, we're comfortable. We've got the best view of it.
That's right. They don't have the beauty of the binoculars, unfortunately. So it gets handballed out the back and Anglevale just drop a ball inside forward 50. Pisano under it.
Terrific early body work. Yeah, I mean, if you get to look at this in a replay or some, you know, I guess later on when you're watching it on YouTube, the early body work he puts on his opponent there was just magnificent. It really virtually looked like it was uncontested in the end.
Absolutely. When Les Pearson tells you to scrub it back 10 seconds, do so and watch it. It looked fantastic there by Jack Pisano. So a chance here for Anglevale to convert on their third late here in the second quarter. And Pisano, a fantastic player for them as well. 13 goals on the season, puts through his 14th in style, and a much-needed goal there for Anglevale. They now move to 3-2-20 on the Sportal scoreboard. 31 points on the board here for Balaklava with an 11-point advantage. And a pretty tight and tough contest here, Les.
Yeah, look, that's great work for effort. They've been better this last 5 minutes or so. You have to say it's like they've really evened up that contest. Around the ground, there's a bit more of the ball movements are much more pronounced. There's a bit more space opening up. And, you end up with that one-on-one, and it's poor Logan Olsen against Pisano, who's a bigger man. So he made use of that size and strength battle, and he's converted. And if you're Angle Vale, you probably you'd take an 11-point advantage at this. A disadvantage at this stage, given the territory battle that has been this quarter.
Absolutely, it was all Balaklava to start, and a fantastic tap there by Warner down underneath, and definitely to one of the best players on the ground in Bailey Arthur as they look to move it through Butterfield, snapping around his body, but pulls it right across the face. Goes close to the boundary line. McFarlane good enough to stay with it, chipping the ball across to the other Butterfield. Just picked it off of his top of his boots there. Wasn't paid a mark and quickly set upon, but no prior. So going to ball it around here near the point post, only around 20 metres around from their goal. Gets knocked down in front. Dangerous position here for Angle Vale. They wouldn't want to let that goal slip away from them right now.
Can only be a handful of minutes left in this term. If they can grip on here and take it, and just be 11 points down at the main break, I think they'd take that.
So underneath, ripping it out of the ruck contest and putting it out into space here. It's a bit of a foot race to the ball. One there underneath there by Jack Pike. Chips the ball over the top, and Bailey Arthur once again. About 55 metres out from home. So
drop the eyes and hit up something short there. He could have panicked and hacked it into the forward line, but he's found Arthur there.
Walks himself to the paint at 50, puts it on its way and through for a goal. What a ripping goal for Bailey Arthur. He has no doubt been one of the best players on the ground so far. What a ripping goal. And unfortunately, Angle Vale maybe just a little bit asleep there. He was able to make the advantage and just give himself a bit of room there.
Yeah, we're looking at the delayed sort of telecast here now, and it really sat off of him. Clever by Pike there, young player. He had every right to just grab the footy and blaze away into 50, but he's managed to pick out Arthur at the top of the 50, and like you said, Angle Vale was just asleep at the wheel there and just let him wheel onto his right. Great kick from 50, but they seem to have let him get that extra distance.
So second goal for Arthur so far, and been fantastic in this one. He has been really good. Dixon going inside forward 50. They're looking for yet another goal in this one. Butterfield gets the hands out, but Rudiger's good enough to stay with it, but chips it right across. Arthur's there once again. I know, I love him. He's brilliant chipping a ball inside. Comes out the back and gets smothered there underneath. It's going to fall into the lap. Take your pick. Yeah, good. Is it Gutschke, is it?
Well, I've been saying Gutschke all my life. But
well, there you go.
You could be right. You're pretty spot on with all this sort of stuff. Warner's just getting on top in those centre taps there, and he's getting those hits to advantage. You spoke about it earlier off the back flank midway through that second. It's such a vital skill to be able to give your midfielders first use, and it's having an impact now. Oh.
I wrote his name down, and I will take full responsibility for that. I wrote it down in my book as a score, at least, and he absolutely shanked it. So if you're looking at doing any game reviews, Pike takes the mark. I apologise for that, William, but yeah, that was my bad.
That is not on you. None of that's on you.
No. But Pike gets an opportunity anyway. From about 35, 40 metres, he'll have to take the kick. So it has a bit of an angle to work with here, about 30, 35 degrees on the outer side. And as well as Angle Vale did to kick the goal earlier, they're letting it unravel here a little bit towards the end of this second quarter as the siren sounds is through. In fact, it actually might just be through for a minor score, I believe.
Yep.
Yes, it is. So on the Sportal scoreboard now moves to 5-8-38, 3-2-20 to bring us to half-time of what's been a really entertaining contest. Both teams finding little bits of momentum at the moment, but the Packers with the most of it for that second quarter. And what started here as an Angle Vale lead by 1 goal at quarter time, able to trickle away, and 4 goal leaders there in that second quarter to get a 3-goal advantage. Half-time here, Angle Vale playing at Balaklava here for the Adelaide Plains Game of the Round, live and free on Filming Footy. We're going to go to a break and we'll have all the second half action in a moment. Welcome back. Balaklava Oval Round 7, Adelaide Plains action. And it's the Balaklava Packers with a dominant second quarter. We're able to get the ascendancy over the Angle Vale Owls, who are ready to break out of their packs. My name's Lewis McKenna. I'm joined by my special commentator, Les Pearson. And Les, of course, you're the reserves captain. If you just joined us, you had a pretty tough 13-point defeat a few hours ago. But
Thank
so
God we're
far
not here to talk about that, aren't we?
No, we're not. No, we didn't cover the reserves. But it'd be worth noting your role within the club. And do you do anything else around the club, or are you just the reserves captain?
Under-11s coach, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. How are they going?
Yeah, no, terrific. I think they've got I've got a big class of 2025 to go into the junior colts next season, which is exciting.
Oh, fantastic. So obviously you'll be able to see on your screen as well, it's an 18-point advantage on the Sportal scoreboard so far to Balaklava, who turned it around. It was a 1-goal lead for Angle Vale after quarter time, and it was really Balaklava who were able to turn it on. They started the second quarter with 4 straight behinds, but then turned it on after that. Well, thank you for joining us as well. APFL partners as well, Vizwater, Sports Power, Zorich Group, Sharon, Belgravia Apparel, Synergy Signs, Mango Inc., McCracken Ford, Balaklava, and the Plains producer. Underway here in the second half. Ball's getting trickled around and picked up eventually by Michael. Just throws it out the back of the pack, and I was wondering if that was going to be called. Mason picks it up and plays on. Goes inside towards the forward 50 and quickly wrapped up in a tackle on the painter 50, and umpire's going to ball it up here.
Not his finest moment, Lockie Michael.
No, he's such a champion player. You would have thought he'd get away with that. But umpire was quickly onto it. Gets knocked down by Warner. Had a pretty impressive afternoon in the ruck so far. Handballed it out the back and going inside forward 50. It's a handy kick to the leading Pisano, but done well there, O'Leary Fletcher. And a free kick's been paid to him, so he's been pretty handy. Even though Pisano kicked a goal there later on in the second quarter, O'Leary Fletcher, he had one moment where he just ran and charged up the middle of the ground. Had about 3 or 4 possessions in one go. Rudiger.
They were all kicks off the ground, weren't they?
They were. He just kept charging up the middle at all costs, moving it forward as the Angle Vale Owls do so. And mark taken by Andrew Marshall. And I do see what you mean now. I have missed an S in his name. So Marshall on the outer side, he's standing at about 55 metres out right now. He'll have to kick it from about 45, just inside the paint of 50.
Tough kick, but if he can put this through, the momentum and the lift that his team will get will be quite important.
You can see there a left footer as well, so it's always going to be a tricky kick from that position, but it is a mark taken down. I believe that's Jack Pisano there. A handy player for Angle Vale, and it is, so he's going to have a much easier shot. A bit of an angle here for him, but should be able to put it through here, Les.
You call that a contested grab, but his body work and his positioning was superb. He just read it better, and in the end, rather simple grab.
So to open up the third quarter here, Jack Pisano, not too much angle to speak of, definitely no distance, puts it through for a goal, his second of the afternoon, and the first here of the third quarter to get Angle Vale underway. They bring it back to a 2-goal ball game, now with a 12-point advantage here for the Packers on the board. 26 now playing 38. It's been a tough contest. There's another whistle being blown here. It'd be interesting to see if there's been something paid, or if it was just the umpire just trying to gain some control over.
It's like a free kick.
Yeah, it does look like a free kick may be paid out of the middle here as some rain starts to fall down here at Balaklava Oval.
Sucked in.
And it is going the way here of Balaklava. Chipping the ball over the top. Tiller picking it up.
On these guys.
That's it. Starting to get their rain finally, the A-graders, after the reserves copped it all afternoon earlier. Trickling out the back, and Butterfield fighting for it. Good enough to stay with it there and maybe knocked down without the ball, but umpire says play on. Or tackled into the ground. There was Isaiah Glancy, the co-captain for Angle Vale.
Yeah, good physical pressure. I didn't mind that.
So, to the outer side now. Ruckman to go at it. Falls in front of everyone there. No one able to get it, but good enough to get the handball out and quickly getting to work the Owls. A little bending ball going inside the corridor. Battle gets it, handballs it back, and they look to go back inside their forward 50.
Henderson.
Good diving mark taken on the 50-metre arc by Dixon. Doesn't quite have the distance there, so a good chipping ball into McFarlane. takes the mark out on the lead, and he'll take a set shot from about 45, 50 metres here, is McFarlane. So handy this season so far. Kicked a goal already this afternoon, looking for his second here and his 6th of the season if he can put it through.
Usually a beautiful set shot.
So right on the paint of 50, the horn's trying to put him off, goes close to goal.
It worked.
Yeah, it did work because it went to the outer side. We were asking for the horn earlier, and it eventually comes into play there. Through for a minor score, and the first of the third quarter for the Packers, 5-9-39, plays 4-2-26.
Now, Lewis, I don't know how sensitive this mic is, but I'm eating some chips and gravy in front of me here, and dead set looking at them. They are the nicest thing I've seen for 2 days, apart from my missus when I woke up this morning.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say, and I'll say my wife as well. I'm sure if she's tuning in, I better throw her into that as well. As McFarlane rips down a contested grab, gets another opportunity at it, and the horn blower from behind the goals will have to try and give their best work again.
You're good to put your wife in there. You showed me a photo before, and I was impressed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, even at 39 weeks pregnant,
we're punching. We're punching.
No, that's exactly right. We are. They do a fantastic job allowing us to go out and watch footy and play footy on a Saturday afternoon, as is Jason McFarlane rolling in, but again putting it to the outer side through another minor score.
The old commentator's curse there, and I mean, I let you off the hook before, but I'm gonna wear those two. I did pump him up.
So McFarlane, a couple behinds here to start the third quarter.
Regulation opportunities.
Yeah, pretty routine, especially that second one as Dixon, a good courageous grab, falling back, able to rip down the grab. Chips a ball here to a 2-on-2 contest, gets knocked down in front. And both teams going at it close to the boundary line, eventually trickling over. So now on the Sportal scoreboard, it's a 14-point advantage here for Balaklava.
Yeah, so
40 plays 26.
I'm sorry. Anglevale has had a lot of practice at getting the ball outside their 50s from kick-ins. So, I mean, through the Packers' inaccuracy, they've got to find a more effective manner about getting this ball outside of that 50-metre arc.
Again, you see there, it's a tricky situation there. Arthur's good enough to get the handball out, though, and Josh Carter gets to work for the Anglevale Owls, but kicks it out into space. So not an advantageous kick at all, but the Packers go to ground. Good enough to stay with it, and Tahana eventually picking it up.
Contest.
Yeah, falls out the back of the contest, and Tiller now with an uncontested ball going inside forward 50, and Hendry marking it about 49 metres out. Doesn't look to take the kick, so decides to put it up near the teeth of the goal square and trickles out towards the boundary line. Gutschke close to the boundary line, balks around a couple, snaps around his body as he put through a goal. He hasn't, through for a minor score. So just as they did in the second quarter, peppering the goals a little bit here to start Balaklava.
Did he have any options through the corridor? Now, I did see some Guernseys there, but maybe, did he look? We're looking at the replay.
Seems like he was pretty locked in on those goals there. He did well enough to walk around a couple players, but just didn't quite have the moves at the end. And when I'm commentating basketball, quite often we use the term $1 million move, 10-cent finish, and maybe we could go with that on that play there.
That's good.
I feel bad saying that as a failed reserves player, but that's why
You're in
I'm
the
sitting.
seat.
That's why I'm sitting here with my hoodie and my jacket on, and still feeling cold.
Commentary poetry.
That's right. Out to the outer side, McFarlane nearly ripping down another contested grab. He's good enough to trickle it out the back. Fighting for it and done well here. The ruckman for Anglevale, he probably just got a fingertip to that handball. Warner popping it up towards goal, and Miller's fighting for it to rip down the mark, but knocked through for yet another minor score. On the Sportal scoreboard, reading 42 plays 26. And they keep it trickling over here, so moving it by hand, Mitchell, and quickly ripping through the middle of the ground is Passant.
That's much better ball movement. Getting that ball back through the corridor, a couple of short kicks, really effective.
Still ball in dispute here as a whistle's been blown, and they quickly pay on through Williams, and an uncontested mark inside their forward 50, a rare one for Anglevale. They had this opportunity a couple times in the first quarter, but they've gone dry, and it's Frank Notto.
Comes off the back of just a change of angle from that kick in. Finally, like on the 13th kick in from a behind, they've managed to bring that ball back through the corridor with some leg speed, and it's resulting in a shot at goal. Before they weren't getting it past halfway.
So should have the distance covered. He has to kick it from about 45. Ball's on its way, and nearly had the distance, but it was fading to the near side. Through for a minor score. So they've got that for another score on the board, bringing it back to 15-point deficit. Angle Vale Owls.
They should be encouraged by that ball movement, though, shouldn't they? They should be encouraged by the fact they were able to put speed on the ball and get it into their forward 50 effectively.
Absolutely. And that's important for Angle Vale as this game rolls on, as they keep moving the ball with confidence and finding uncontested ball movement. And Balaklava look to move it around through Batty, and they find a little bit of space here, but Dixon fumbles the ball. And now the ball's back in dispute here with a little bit of rain still trickling down. And a ball up here, just to the left-hand side of the centre circle, just slightly favouring the Peckers here. As a rainbow comes over the ground as well, that looks beautiful. Next time we go down Angle Vale's End, you should be able to see that in the background.
I haven't looked at the radar, but this looks like it might be a bit heavy.
It's starting to come down, and so that will get rid of our rainbow, unfortunately, which is a bit upsetting, but that's fine. So they'll move it quickly now, or maybe we'll quickly get the rainbow in shot here. They go down, Maynard, good solid pick up in the wet, quickly set upon, and a good solid tackle there from Miller, but Pelaconia just picked it up. So no prior opportunity as he's slow to get up. Joel Pelaconia for a ripping tackle there by Miller. So ball up right under the beautiful rainbow. Gets knocked down. I like rainbows, they're beautiful.
You can tell.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was at Alberton Oval last weekend watching the Port Magpies against West Adelaide.
The cameraman's letting us
it's lovely. Look at that. I mean, it doesn't look too good around it.
It's just here, like it's on the back. It's on the forward flank.
Well, both these teams looking for their pot of gold this afternoon. Dixon, draws a bit of contact in the head by the co-captain in Glancy, and Dixon on the ground, slow to get up.
It's one of those unfortunate ones where it wasn't intentional, but he had his head over the footy.
So Battle going inside forward 50, leading at the footy, couldn't quite pull it down there, Butterfield, and obviously with a wet ball, but Gutschy around his body, looks close to going, waiting for the bounce. McFarlane athletically kicks it, goes over his head and socket through for a goal. What a brilliant goal eventually put through. It was a bit messy. I think you mentioned it before, not really the way they drew it up, and I think that was Tiller eventually off the deck.
Just rifled it through like a centering, like how McFarlane got that ball off the ground without picking it up back to that spot is, I mean, probably defies physics, but yeah, Tiller, man on the spot, wasn't he?
Get him into the Socceroos.
Yeah, well,
how good was that? He just off the deck, just knocks it through, and on the Sportal scoreboard, 6-12-48. They've been peppering the goal, the Peckers, but still with a handy advantage now, out to 21 points, 4-3-27. And Tiller gets it underway.
It hasn't been traditionally the scoring end on days like this where the wind is favouring that southern end. So, you know, any goals that way are going to be super valuable, and especially with this weather moving in, any lead they can carry, Balaklava can carry into the last quarter will be pretty important, given that the breeze is favouring that side. Although, as I talk, is there a breeze? Can you see a flag?
I think it's just died down now. I tend to look at the trees in the background, and there is a little bit of a breeze here. That rainbow is just looking magnificent. I'm going to keep banging on about it, but as Angle Vale now moving it inside their forward 50, and they need to convert on an opportunity here pretty soon. O'Leary Fletcher did well against Pisano, gets knocked down in front. Still fighting for it there underneath.
He did not have it. It's a free kick.
It is a free kick, and we'll have to see who that is there underneath. I believe he's just setting back now, so going to take his opportunity. Bit of an angle here, but obviously no real distance to speak of, and I think this is going to be Andrew Marshall here. So it looks like he's going to set back for the drop punt. Bit of angle, but not right up against the boundary line, so should be a pretty easy opportunity here, and a really important opportunity for them to try and convert.
You'd expect him to kick this, but the free kick was there. He was held without it.
So Marshall on his way in, puts through a really important goal for the Owls. Eventually gets it done, and they've now drawn that lead right back to 15 again. Every time Balaklava threatened to take the game away from the Owls, they just come right back into it. 48-33 on the Sportal scoreboard. Marshall in for a goal, his first of the afternoon, his fourth of the season. And an important one there as this game continues on. Balaklava have had a lot of opportunities inside their forward 50, and you can see there 6-12 on the scoreboard. They have given away a lot of them. Angle Vale have been pretty tidy for their limited opportunities, 5-3-33. So back in the middle.
Yeah, they're hanging in there. They're hanging tough. You know, they could have dropped off by now, but they keep popping up, chipping away at the scoreboard.
So Warner crashing into the ruck and eventually trickling it out the back, fighting for it underneath there. Couldn't quite get it out there through Arthur. Michael in the middle, handballs it out the back, but Rudiger finds a bit of space to chip the ball over the top. Couldn't quite get the diving mark there underneath, and Mitchell good enough to get a handball out the back, but maybe called for holding the ball instead, and a good tackle made by Gutchie. Had a little lateral ball to go, but decides to go a little further down the line instead, a one-on-one contest. Butterfield beating him to the ball, and handball over the back to Tiller. Trickling ball inside, try to find on the chest, but comes off the chest of the Angle Vale defenders. And a ball up here, around 40 metres around from goal.
Really clever handball from Butterfield there. The defenders were thinking he was going to the outside, but he's popped it to Tiller on the inside and got the ball inside 50.
So trickling over the back, and Tiller once again underneath it. Miller gets the hack out of the pack and towards the goal square. Ball still in dispute here. Hendry picking it up, but quickly set upon by Rudiger, and it's going to be another ball up.
Been a good contest. Hendry's probably been the main avenue for goal for Balaklava in the last couple of weeks, but he's been really well held.
Well, he's got 11 goals on the season. All of his goals coming in just 2 games. 6 in one game, 5 in the other.
Yeah, so he's been moved forward in the last 2 weeks from playing defence his entire A-grade career. So it's been rather effective, but today, really good contest. But would be interested to actually take note of who he's on.
So a free's been paid here as well in the ruck contest here to Butterfield.
Did you see what happened there, Lewis? I didn't.
Just watching it here in front of us and a little bit of delay, and he was thrown off it there by the ruckman and Jonathan Wright. So Butterfield will have an opportunity here. We mentioned the breeze has died down a little bit here, so not much to contend with as he walks away from us here in the commentary truck and has an opportunity to try and get this game back out and pulls it left through for a minor score. So started that way, and it's exactly where it finished. So 49 plays 33 on the Sportal scoreboard, and Butterfield with the minor score.
Yeah, so Butterfield, Jake Butterfield, he come across from Henley, was the captain of their reserves team for the last couple of years. He's come across to play some A-grade footy into the country and slotted straight in.
So Angle Vale quickly on the outer side. Try to go to a one-on-one contest, but falls right out the back and trying to duck around. Marshall with a tackle, ripping one.
Great tackle.
Maybe should have been paid holding the ball.
He got away with that.
Yeah, he did.
He took that on.
Thought he had a fair bit of time to get rid of it, but the umpire has probably been fairly consistent with that play. Maybe you would say that should have been holding the ball, but call it a 0-0 draw. They're at the back now. Marshall quickly getting the hack out of the pack towards goal. It's going to go close, but has gone through for a minor score. So bringing the game back to a 15-point game and sat around that mark for quite some time.
You said the umpire's been consistent on that. Do you mean he's consistently wrong, or?
Look, I'm in the role where I have to be very nice to everyone. But I'd imagine as a reserves captain, it's not quite your role. And that's understandable. Rathman, Michael, Gutchie, trying to barge around. A tackle gets tackled, and that will be paid holding the ball. That one's probably a little more easy. And Nilly's got to be careful there that it doesn't get turned around.
He was looking for it, wasn't he, Gutchie? He was looking for the contact. But, yeah, a bit of mayo on the flop forward. But, yeah, you're right. You've got to be careful. You turn that over just as easy.
It doesn't make too many mistakes, does Gutchie, but quickly going inside their forward 50 once again and trickling out the back. But Balaklava here have the numbers, so he's able to survey and weigh up his options. Try to find the chest of Batty. Bounced off and struggling to pick the ball up there was Battle. Trying to get it in the hands of Dixon, falls out the back. But Angle Vale now have a bit of space through their captain. Rolling into goal and through for a major. Captain's on the board in Mitchell. Lachlan Mitchell for his 5th goal of the season, and a crucial one, bringing this back to single digits. Now a 9-point ball game on the Sportal scoreboard, and a ripping goal there for Angle Vale. And back into this contest.
Love the finish at speed there. Just prior to that, the fumble was crucial from Battle on the ground at ground level. Just reaching for it, didn't come, and Angle Vale pounced on the error. A terrific finish from one of their leaders.
Brilliant goal there from Lachlan Mitchell. Just picked it up in the wet weather. It's been trickling with rain most of this quarter, which means that the water would be sitting on the surface and on the ball, really hard to pick up. Just picked it up cleanly and snapped through a handy goal. So now on the Sportal scoreboard, 6:13.49 to 6:4.40. It's just those behinds for Balaklava that have them the lead at the moment, as we're taking some time to get that ball back into the middle.
It's hard yak. I don't know what they do in other leagues, but having the B graders come out and run the boundary after a tough, intense battle, they do their best. But
it's the best of country footy. But hey, if you're watching at home and not doing too much and you're able-bodied and want to get amongst community footy, then there's roles everywhere in for you, whether it's don't have the luxury here, but they've got the electronic scoreboard here, but plenty of scoreboards to be done, boundary umpiring, goal umpiring, as Mason rips it out of the pack, and good kick over to Mitchell. He finds a little bit of space, quickly puts it onto his boot and diving to try to take the grab there underneath.
I think it was Henderson.
Yeah, quickly set upon and nearly was able to take the mark, but Anglevale now have a little bit of momentum and ascendancy in the last few minutes, and Balaklava have to be careful not to give this lead back.
Changing the ruck too, I think.
And Mason goes up and rips it up instead. Flicks it back, Rathman wrapped up, and he did have the ball for a while, and you know what, I actually think that should have been called for holding the ball as well.
Umpire blindside there, I'll give him benefit of the doubt there, but it looks like O'Leary Fletcher's gone into the ruck. Can you see with the binoculars there?
Yeah, looks like he is, so he's charging into the ruck there against Joby Maynard. Maynard was good enough to get the tap down, but quickly set upon there is the Packers defender, and they're going to ball it up once again. So it's just whoever can get this quick handball out. Now, what I'm really looking at here is Mitchell, the goal scorer, the captain, number 9,
himself,
completely left alone out the back of this pack. Glancy had his head clipped off a little bit there, but nothing called. Quickly out the back, and Pike's able to move it through hand. Arthur just hacks it off the ground and moves it quickly, but they've got space to move it now through Pennell. Ooh. Oh, a little bit of a fend off, maybe caught a little high, but good enough to go inside forward 50 to a contest. Couldn't quite rip it down, and here he is out the back. Left unattended, snapping through for a goal. We knew he was left free, and you can't leave him that free. And what a crucial goal. Back-to-back goals from Mitchell. Just call me the predictor. I know exactly what's going to go on. I see everything a couple minutes in advance. I'm taking full credit for that. But in all seriousness, on the Sportal scoreboard, it now moves to a 3-point game. They've come surging back into this contest. An amazing game so far. Balaklava leading by 3, 49 to 46 on the Sportal scoreboard.
Oh, really poor defensively there. I mean, like an Anastasia, he was left outside alone for a long time. He was in that forward pocket, just lurking all by himself. Anglevale also had the spare set up behind the ball, so when that hat kick came out, easily intercepted. He's there at the full and able to finish. And another good finish, very similar to the one prior, although a bit further out, and he's killed it around nicely.
So just left unmarked there for at least a minute and a half, really. just
eternity.
Yeah, just left alone. And given now that he's got a couple goals in a row and he's putting a stamp on this contest, we can see now that Dixon's right onto him and probably going to try and quieten him down a little bit here. So trickling out the back here, Battle looking to get to work. Oh, good tackle laid there by Williams, and he's going to get the ball back.
They're feeling it here, Anglevale. They're feeling it.
They are. They've got a bit of momentum here. They're hunting a little bit harder at the moment. And now late here in this third quarter, 22 minutes gone.
Look at the numbers going forward.
So good kick inside by Williams, trying to find a chest. What a ripping kick from Williams.
I doubt that was deliberate.
I'm going to give it to him.
It looked like it was off the instep. Rather savage. But, I mean, luck's a fortune, isn't it, when you're playing front? And, and with a forward 50, that's Pike. That's Pike, and he's just been daydreaming, and he's coming off the ground, and he's gone through the mark.
So Tahana had it, and he was going to have to kick it all of about 45 metres. Now he's marched to the top of the goal square, essentially, and he's just going to pop through an easy goal to give Anglevale the lead. And how about this surge back into the game? Anglevale now with a lead, and what an incredible turn of events here in this game. They've now put it through, and on the Sportal scoreboard, now 52 playing 49. It's been an impressive turnaround.
They needed a spark, didn't they? And we know where it's come from.
Yeah,
Your man.
absolutely it has. Well, Mitchell was fantastic, of course, a couple goals and even getting a couple possessions. But what I really impressed there, Williams, his tackle, and then obviously whether it was intended or not, was a really effective kick going in. And, yeah, making a silly mistake there to give them the easy goal, running through the mark, something that a coach is not going to be happy about at all. So 49 plays 52, but Balaklava, plenty of time left in this game, certainly not out of it, especially with Warner in the ruck, but Wright this time gets the tap down. So Michael flicking the ball around and Dixon's there underneath. Maybe held without it, didn't have the ball at all. He's eventually laid on and they're going to ball it up around 55 out from Anglevale's goal. Really fun game to commentate so far here. There was a period there in that first quarter where it was looking a bit boring, but it's really picked up its intensity so far here, and umpire's blown the whistle. He's going to ball it up once again. So they're just scrumming themselves a little closer to goal here, Anglevale.
They're up on their toes around the contest.
Absolutely they are, and Warner able to get the tap there, but quickly picked up there by Glancy, and he's wrapped up in a tackle.
So these red time goals now, could shake this contest.
Wright gets a knockdown in front, trying to find Glancy, and again, it's going nowhere. So Anglevale with their first lead in quite some time. They haven't led since the 24-minute mark of the first quarter. So knocked out the back, couldn't quite get it there was Batty. Dropped down underneath, it's got to be holding the ball, and it is. Couldn't get rid of it effectively, and finally, it feels like the first time in about 5 or 6 minutes, Balaklava have an opportunity to try and move it around themselves.
Yeah, absolutely right. It just hasn't been in their hands. It's either been in contest or in with the hours. So, yeah, vital passage of play coming up.
Have to go to a contest there, climbing through, and a whistle got blown before it could actually reach the contest, and holding on to Bailey Arthur. In fact, it was actually Gutchy. And understandable for both of those players, two of the best so far this afternoon. So Battle. He's one of the league representatives.
Look at Batty out the back by himself. He's calling for it, but it's not going. Oh, it's not going there. He was there for a long time, Batty, and the execution was off. I think he was angling it to Miller, but yeah, poor kick going inside 50.
So Rudiger, who's been fantastic for Anglevale in the back line, as he has all season so far, and a brilliant kick, finding his captain on the chest in Glancy.
So you wonder what they're going to do now. Are they playing some tempo? Are they going to try and attack again?
Well, that's it. With this quarter now winding down, Sirens should really go at any second. You think 26 minutes gone, and Dixon there maybe was being held onto, but
He
Mason...
was absolutely held, then shoved. But,
Mason now chipping a ball about 40 metres down the line. A good grab taken. Joby Maynard with a ripping grab now, looking to go inside forward 50, popping it into the pocket there to no one's advantage, and Balaklava will get the ball back. So handy there for Balaklava to not concede any more score here late in the third quarter.
Some good signs here from the Anglevale. Two Anglevale players came up to contest that mark. So, I mean, at the end, one of them was going to pull it down, but they're really up for the fight here.
So O'Leary Fletcher, so they switch it all around to the other side, and a little chip ball over is a risky one trying to find Battle, but it was a good mark. He turned one way, looked to go to the outer side, but now looks corridor. Chips the ball across and looking for Gutchy, but Williams, he's hunted in this third quarter, gets knocked down, but he's good enough to intercept and cause a stoppage in the middle of the ground.
It's a really poor decision by Battle there, and I mean, I've just criticised his last kick, but that one was even worse. 50-50 contest in the corridor. He's lucky it's been held up with a stoppage. So in front, and looks like they're going to play on. They can't call that advantage, surely. And they have brought it back. It is going the other way. So Dixon here with the free kick, and really waiting for the siren in this one. Nearly 28 minutes gone. Has been a few goals kicked here, and there's a good ripping grab leading up the footy there by Butterfield. So maybe does Balaklava have an opportunity to try and score? They don't. It does bring us to the end of the third quarter, and an ebbing and flowing contest. Quarter time was a goal lead to Anglevale. Half time was a 3-goal lead to the Peckers, and now at three-quarter time, it's a 3-point advantage. 8-4-52 to 6-13-49 on the Sportal scoreboard. My name's Lewis McKenna. I'm joined by Les Pearson, the reserves captain for Balaklava. We'll have all the fourth quarter action in just a moment.
Welcome back to a cold, wintry afternoon here, late afternoon here at Balaklava Oval. It's about 8 degrees right now. I think the feels like on Bomb is about 4 degrees, and it does feel like that in the truck here at the moment. You're about an hour and a half after your reserves game, Les, and you're probably starting to feel a little cold as well, but the hot chips will be warming you up a little bit. So really, really entertaining game here so far. It's been ebbing and flowing. If you've just joined us, it was a 1-goal advantage for Anglevale at quarter time, 4-goal swing to the lead of the Peckers at halftime, and then now swung right back to Anglevale there. They had about a 21-point lead halfway through that third quarter, and now Anglevale with a 3-point advantage in what's a really crucial game for both of these sides. Balaklava sitting at 4-2, Anglevale 2-4. A win's ultimately important for them as well. So back in the middle, and of course we'll have to keep an eye out as well for our player of the game, winning the Archie Songs at the end of this one as well. So one to watch as this game rolls on, but important for both these sides to try and get a win. Adelaide Plains, round 7, game of the round, brought to you by Filming Footy, live and free on YouTube as well. We thank you for joining us. It's probably far warmer in your lounge rooms than it is here in the truck bed, but I love bringing it to your ears and your eyes. Dixon chipping a ball across and trying to find the mark there is Butterfield deep in the pocket. Gets the handball out the back, and Hendry finds a little bit of space, has to pick it up cleanly and does. Wheels around, handballs it off to his captain in Michael, pops it on the boot and just started out right and finishes there. So through for a minor score and back to 2 points.
Something different? Another point?
That's right, another point on the board. So Michael with his first score of the afternoon. 50 plays 52 on the Sportal scoreboard.
Well, the onus is now on Balaklava to respond. They've been challenged and seriously challenged. They've got to respond. They've got to find a spark, just as Anglevale did that quarter.
So
by this man.
Oh, Mitchell, he's been fantastic. Had a ripping third quarter with back-to-back goals to get them back in it. And takes the uncontested mark here in defensive 50.
So the different angle in the kicking again. We're back up the corridor and we're in much more threatening positions. It's going to make its way inside 50.
Absolutely. Mason rips down the free ball, but turns the ball over, and good mark retreating back by Henderson.
Poor entry when they had the time and space, but like a promising sign of the way they moved the ball out of defence just then.
So chipping the ball over the top, trying to find McFarlane now into a one-on-one battle. McFarlane gets his hands onto it first, but spills out the front. Dixon fighting underneath, and Rudiger's there. They're going to ball it up. So on a cold afternoon, you would think fitness would really come into it late stages of this game. We've had a bit of rain to contend with as well, so they're playing with a cold, wet footy as well. As this game really heats up. I mentioned before the implications as well as we sit in the middle of this season. Anglevale are returning grand finalists, of course, a very different team to what they had last year. They lost a lot of players to the Barossa district in the neighbouring Barossa League.
And a coach.
And a coach, yes, of course. And of course trying to find, with this new squad, success and get back deep into the final series. But that needs to start here this afternoon, 2-4, wanting to make that 3-4. They handball it out the back of the pack and quickly set upon by a bunch of Balaklava Peckers. The little risky handball over the top trying to find Mitchell. Michael's there underneath, and the two captains going at it, and Lachlan Mitchell of the Owls is good enough to win the free kick.
You just wonder if these conditions are going to play a factor in the end with Balaklava having to come from behind now.
Well, they get the ball out the back of the pack here on centre wing and send it down towards James Batty. He fumbles it once, but is good enough to pick it up and quickly wrapped up in a tackle. And the rain is starting to come down a little harder here now. You may be able to hear it in the background on the roof of the truck. It's just starting to rain a little heavier in the ruck contest there, and neither ruckman able to really get any kind of hit on it.
We've seen that happen a few times, haven't we? Like where the ruckman just haven't got to a ball up. Like what is wrong with them? Absolute airheads.
Don't know. They're kind of standing around. There is a kind of a feeling that ruckman sometimes it's a little tricky. Well, it's a little tricky, and they have to drop the ball further to their foot and all that sort of thing. So you can give them a little bit of credit, but
you're a far kinder man than me.
No, that's right. That's my job. Marshall flicks it over the back, and here he goes. Williams has a bit of space. Here. Has to pick it up, and now set upon by a couple of players. Has teammates there to try and get it to. Williams has stayed with it here. He can't pick it up cleanly enough, though. And he's good to just form a contest there underneath. So well done by both players there to get amongst it.
Yeah, ended up being a good contest. If Williams could have kept his feet there, she was all over Red Rover. But, yeah, enough physicality in that contest to keep it locked in. 50-50 ball.
Well done by Olsen as well to stay with it. Right, knocking it down in front for Anglevale. Gets smothered underneath. Gutsy picks it up. Chips a little ball over the top, and Butterfield climbs for it.
The arms are shocked.
Yeah, maybe there was a little bit of contact there, but nothing called. So maybe just heard a bit of thunder in the distance.
It's just my belly after these chips.
Oh, that's understandable. So dismiss the thunder. That's just Les. So going to ball it up here. Just narrow centre wing. Gets knocked down by Warner straight to Mason, and he's not happy with the treatment there by Dixon. Bit of push and shove after that. He deals with a couple Peckers players after that. So Ruckman go at it once again. Wright gets the tap down. Been intrigued by this ruck contest, the two of them going at it. Dixon there underneath, maybe pushing the back. He's good enough to stay with it. Picks it up with one hand in the wet. Hacks it inside forward 50. A little bit of space here to get to work. Hacking it out. Is that through for a goal? No, just slams into the woodwork. Minor score, and we've now got a 1 point ball game. It's getting heavier and heavier by the second here, the rain. 51 plays 52 on the Sportal scoreboard. It's a 1 point lead here for the Owls. They're going to struggle to move the ball end to end, just as the Balaklava Peckers are, and they trickle the ball out towards the boundary line. Looks like it's going to go over before anyone can touch it.
Yeah, when I joined you in the truck this afternoon, you said, I've driven the best part of an hour out here to Outback Whoop Whoop. You know, miserable conditions, it better be close. Well, you've got your wish, Lewis.
I'm loving it. No, it's beautiful. As Michael climbs the back of the pack, couldn't quite rip it down. Moving the ball by hand now are Anglevale, and they chip the ball out. Couldn't quite take the diving mark. Now the Balaklava side trying to move the ball through hand, and there has been a free kick paid here in the back. So looks like it's going to be Gutsy on the outer side. Moves it by hand quickly to the runner going inside forward 50 as the rain starts teeming down. Miller, and through for a minor score. And once again...
You're running out of room in that tally at the end there, in the behind tally.
I've got pages and pages and pages to work with. But Miller...
Prepared man.
That's right.
Not your first rodeo.
No, that's right. But 6 minutes down, 52 apiece on the Sportal scoreboard.
That rain's getting heavier. This is going to be a territory battle.
This absolutely is, and you'll see those little muddy spots get muddier as this quarter rolls on. And a ripping grab in the wet taken down by Warner.
Arguably mark of the day there. That's these conditions don't lend themselves to contested marks.
When he pops one up, skies it up, Rudiger's trying to come in and take the mark, but it's going to be really hard to rip down any mark at the moment, unless you're Bo Warner, of course.
Now, you love frothing over the midfielders, but I'm a big fan of defenders, and Rudiger's just been rock solid back there all day.
Rudiger has been fantastic. He has been one of the best, and there was a reason why I gave him the Archie Stongs a few weeks ago against Virginia. Saved the day with Virginia looking for their first win of the season, and they eventually only got over the line by 3 points, I believe. Mitchell trying to get the kick out, just got his shoelaces onto it, eventually picks it up again, tackled by Dixon. Comes out the back of the pack, and they go inside forward 50. Rudiger is able to take it down, gets tackled, spills out the back of the pack. Lockie Michael picks it up and puts it up towards goal. It's a one-on-one contest here, close to goal.
Ricochet.
Who's there? They have to try and trickle it through. Can't quite get through. It's like a rugby scrum there on the goal line.
They didn't score.
They didn't even get a score on the board as Anglevale hack it out the back of the pack.
Did he miss his boot there? What's happened there?
I think they have. We've got a luxury of about 20, 25 seconds in front of us as they go inside forward 50 once again. Butterfield picks it up, pops it up to the top of the goal square. Ball's in dispute in a dangerous position. Anglevale needs to clear. There's about 15 players right around this ball, and they're going to ball it up once again.
It was Jacob Battle. Now, he's dropped it on his left foot, and it's either missed it completely or barely sneaked it.
Maybe.
I've been harsh on him this afternoon.
He maybe should have got a little bit of a shoelace onto that one. Still in a dangerous position here, and Balaklava seem to have the momentum here at the moment to try and get it back with a tie ball game. You'll take any sort of momentum in this one.
Here we go, Lewis. Here comes the rain.
Here it comes.
This is Anzac Day.
An absolute nightmare to call. Michael's there underneath, handballs it off to Battle. Little trickling ball over the top. We're getting wet.
The farmers are happy.
We're getting wet underneath. Have to hide my laptop. But Anglevale, importantly, moving the ball inside their forward 50. Joby Maynard's there underneath. Handballs it back. Williams gets the ball, has to hack it onto his boot.
It's teaming down.
It's absolutely teaming down. I feel bad for the poor water boy in front of us. He needs to get out of the rain.
Nah, bugger him, he volunteered. He put his hand up for this.
As there's been a whistle blown and about 45 metres out, they're going to have to ball it back in. And my phone is sitting in the rain. Warner knocks it down in front. Just hacked off the boot, and that's all it's going to have to be. Just get it on the boot as quickly as you possibly can, moving it by hand. Butterfield couldn't quite take it.
That's not what you want to be doing, is playing that handball game in these conditions. You want to be getting it on the boot as much as possible.
Williams picks it up. He finds a little bit of space.
Oh, the free kick here.
Forward 50, and there
The Shepherd.
has been a free
The
kick
Shepherd
here.
behind play here. And that's costly. That's costly for Anglevale.
It is
They were
costly.
going forward, it looked dangerous.
Absolutely they were. So they get a free kick here. Paid from Joby Maynard was the one off the ball. So Bailey Arthur, who's been one of the best this afternoon, just has to send it long down the line. Comes off his shin just about, and good mark in the end taken by Josh Carter.
There's money in this mud, Liam. Lewis,
Has to
got your name.
torp it. Torps it towards forward 50.
I'm a fan of a torp in these conditions.
Absolutely, I don't
Lewis?
blame you.
Got your name, sorry.
No, that's right. There's a lot going on, to be honest.
There is.
Les, it's hard to remember most things. As Michael's there underneath trying to get the hack off the boot. Does get a little trickling ball out the side. Eventually picked up by Mitchell. And he's able to get a bit of momentum going inside forward 50, going near the boundary line.
Couldn't get a hand on it.
Pisano is claiming that he touched it, but that's what key forwards are good at. They're good at claiming that they did things.
Important territory, though.
Absolutely, as O'Leary Fletcher hacks the ball about 50 metres down the line.
Here's your man.
Yeah, Mitchell ripping through the pack. He just fumbles the ball. Williams there underneath. Couple players now onto the ball. Miller can't quite get any valuable possession out. Mason gets it, but can't quite get it too far. Taken out of the pack, and handball going back inside forward 50 for the Owls. What can they do here, Anglevale? Trying to get into the lap. Marshall snapping out of the pack, going towards goal, and just through for a minor score, but a very valuable point you'll see as this game rolls on. Now moving to 53 to 52 on the Sportal scoreboard.
It was Mitchell again that sharked a really short kick and fed the handball forward. Got it deep in the Anglevale forward line. They've got a very, very valuable point, and we've been lamenting them all afternoon, but they won't mind having that one on the board.
Absolutely. So 6-16-52 plays 8-5-53 as Balaklava move it to the outer side. And you, of course, got a fair bit of this rain in your reserves game earlier on, and the A-grade were prancing around out there, not having to touch a single raindrop as Pisano snaps it around his body, can't quite get it through. Goes through for yet another valuable minor score on the Sportal scoreboard. 54 plays 52. And Pisano once again threatening the goals with 12 minutes gone in this quarter.
And again, territory game. I mean, Anglevale keeping it down there. There must be a blood rule coming up. I think it's Bailey Arthur leading the game.
It is Bailey Arthur, so Arthur coming off, and
Pike coming on.
yeah, not the player you want coming off the ground as well. Bailey Arthur been the best so far for Balaklava. I'm shivering in my seat. It's quite cold.
He's just been a bit quieter in this last portion of the game where Anglevale's coming back. They're going to need more out of him if they're going to get over the line. Get him struck up and get back on as fast as possible.
Yeah, the trainers will be getting to work down there, no doubt. So ball getting scrapped here underneath the pack. Umpires circling, and no doubt they're going to ball it up once again. So inaccuracy has been the story of the day so far for Balaklava. 6-17, of course. In this weather, it's to be expected, but this rain only started about 10 minutes ago. So they need to try and convert through the middle if they want to come back into this game. Of course, Anglevale now with a 1-point advantage.
You wait, the sun's going to come out. We're going to get a rainbow in a second.
Oh, I love my rainbows. Did you know that?
Yeah, no.
They're fantastic.
Picture there's a lot of pictures of rainbows on your walls in your house.
No rainbows at my house, unfortunately, but we save it for the real thing. We see it behind the backdrop of the beautiful Balaklava Oval. And even when it's teeming with rain, it looks fantastic. Those silos in the background trickling towards the boundary line. Glancy picks it up, tries to go the don't argue, and eventually walks it over the boundary line. as the rain has started to settle here a little bit.
So who can grab their moment here? You've got a game on a nice edge. Looks like it's going to come down to, you know, one score either way, even at this point in the quarter.
It's a tricky one, and you look at some of the forwards, maybe someone like Miller, or even one of the with the other forwards, of course, you see Lachlan Hendry, who's been quite good in the last couple of weeks up forward. If they can be the ones to steal this game away, Battle takes the mark in the middle of the ground, so chips the ball the outer side in space, and Brownlee running onto it, a soccer towards the boundary here coming from the Owls. They've got a 1-on-2 to kind of contend with here.
Oh, good play.
Goes to ground, and well done. Picks it up, does Pike, handballs it over the top. Brownlee fighting for it. Crashing through is Rudiger over the boundary line.
Yeah, good play to take it out. I think they've paid a... Did they pay the throw-in?
It was interesting there, Rudiger putting his body on the line.
And he took the ball with him and got it to a neutral position.
As I get my laptop back out, because it stopped raining, we were able to see the footage in front of us, as quickly set upon in a tackle off the ball in. So, in a dangerous position here for Angle Vale with a 2-point lead, 8-6-54, plays 6-16-52. Coming out the back here, Michael trying to pick it up, gets it on his second effort and handballs it off. There is Hendry, just trickles it off the boot, doesn't go too far. He's fighting for it once again, Hendry, but picked up by the Owls there underneath, diving on top of the ball. Umpire says he's going to ball it up.
He didn't have much purchase on that left peg. Hendry, just slipped off the side in these slippery conditions. Anything you can get to get the ball going forward is going to be extremely valuable.
So Balaklava looking to hold the ball in their forward 50 here, and does trickle out the back for the Owls. But Lockie Michael's going to beat everyone to it. Does eventually pick it up, but loses the ball. Trickles out the back of the pack, and the Owls go moving to the outer side. Rathman trying to fight to the ball. In fact, that's not Rathman.
Great handball.
Yeah, absolutely. Great handball in these conditions. A one-on-one contest here. Joby Maynard fighting for it. O'Leary Fletcher's down there as well as Pisano underneath, and quickly tackled there was Jason Henderson. And Angle Vale, they'll be pretty happy in these conditions to move the ball that quickly down this end of the ground. So any goal to either side here would be a dagger in the heart of their opposition. Quickly snapping out of the pack there for Balaklava, going back into the corridor, and a good grab taken in the end. Just on the chest safely. Wanting to go back inside forward 50 here is Tahana. Kicked a goal earlier in the contest. Warner falling back, bodies crashing together, and see about 3 or 4 of them on the ground there. It was Warner who was falling back with that. We might have a look at that in front of us here in a moment.
Looked like his legs came out from beneath him in the air, and he's hit his head on the ground and dazed him briefly. But
yeah, it was a really, really tricky one there, as he was courageous going at the ball too, falling to the ground as it goes close to goal here, and eventually run through for a rush behind by Brownlee. So Angle Vale now with that 3-point advantage. 55 plays 52 on the Sportal scoreboard.
So what are we, 2/3 through the term? Angle Vale have maintained that lead that they came in with at 3/4 time. And here's an opportunity.
They have an opportunity to go inside forward 50. They put it to the top of the goal square, fighting for it, and out the back here, snapping around the body, and went right across the face, but still in with it. Marshall, and he was taken a bit high, you'd think, going over the boundary line, but in fact the umpire said he ducked his head there. So
yeah, he did. He dropped his knees and ducked his head. I'd rather that play holding the ball than just
good umpiring there. I think that was the right decision to be paid. So hurling it in, knocked down in front there by the ruckman in Warner. Good to see that he's okay after that big knock a moment ago. Underneath there is Battle, and quickly set upon. So ball up here.
They've been brave here, Angle Vale, really brave. The conditions have kept things dour, but they're in for the physical contest.
Neither ruckman able to get to it, but Wright eventually picks it up, handballs it off to his captain, going inside forward 50, and Mitchell leaves it, and Lockie Mitchell, how about that goal from 50 metres? They were able to let it go through, and a massive goal, a scrap in shoes as well.
It's on here, Lewis.
But Mitchell, how about that for his 3rd goal of the afternoon? He's been absolutely phenomenal.
They were getting stuck into the big ruckman there. I'm not sure why. Maybe he was the tackling, trying to tackle Mitchell in that situation. But They got stuck into him after the. Here it is on our on the little.
Yeah.
They're still getting stuck into it. Well, there's a replay. But.
Yeah, no, they are. They were really getting into each other. So 61-52, and
That's a team lifter, isn't it? It's just been his day so far in that second half, really lifting his team. He's got 3 second half goals. All contested and through the passage of play. None of it's been out the back and easy.
with minimal goals kicked here in this fourth quarter, you would think that this quarter won't go too much past 25, 26 minutes. So as we're now 19 and a half minutes gone, you mentioned before who's going to be a player to stand up in this, and one of the leaders on the ground, of course, that's Mitchell, been fantastic. Glancy here amongst it, trying to prevent another goal. Batty picking it up. In fact, that was Butterfield underneath there and quickly tackled. Thought there was a little bit of high contact, but umpire says I'm going to ball it up on the pain of 50 here for Balaklava. You mentioned someone standing up and taking ownership of this game. That goal right there is from the captain for Angle Vale, is a ripping goal. So underneath there, right, and Warner go at it. Rathman out the back, just handballs it into space. Michael uses his body well to get the ball and pick it up. Go to battle. He has a bit of space now. Handballs it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got it recorded here.
Awesome. Yeah, nah, cool. So at least that way, Robert will actually grab it for a social. Oh, I think one of those things, it's one of